All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. It is day whatever. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently today because we want to switch it up, and we're going to be exploring what that mysterious cylinder that sits in your corner, in your closet, in the trunk of your car, the foam roller. And this valuable piece of toolkit is underutilized, or is when I say underutilized, people will just kind of scrub out real quick and say, "All right, I'm done. I foam roll. Everything is fine." Not true. Everything is not fine because you're probably not doing it long enough to make any lasting change, and you're probably not doing it right. So we're going to take today and we're going to explore probably just the low body, given our time constraints, and I'll show you how to use it right. So what I want you to do is grab your roller, and you're going to put one foot, your calf musculature, on top of the roller, and then you go ahead and clip the other foot right over the foot that's going to be working, right? So this is your palette that you're going to be painting the picture of new musculature on, and right away you can just kind of feel any hot spots, adhesions, trigger points. There's all sorts of different words that you can use for these, but all it needs is a knot. It's a muscular knot, and I'm going to give it a once over and kind of check my palate here. You don't want to really worry about right behind the knee because that's just all tendinous tissue that goes inside the joint. You can kind of roll side to side around just to check and see if everything's good. But if there is a lump in there, you might want to check with your doctor because there's only so much that this can do. It will, however, give you valuable information. Okay, so now you gotta roll. I like to do about 5 times up and down the entire length of the tissue that I'm focusing on, which is the calf right here. And the calf itself has 3 main parts. You've got the gastrocnemius, which is the big muscly part right here, lateral and medial, and then you've got the soleus underneath, which runs from the ankle, well actually all the way to the bottom of the foot, all the way up to behind the knee. And what you're going to find is that the more time that you spend mashing this tissue out, the more malleable your feet will get, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a scrubbing pattern here. I'm pushing down with my top leg, my right leg, excuse me, and I'm just scrubbing. And as I scrub, you'll see that I'm slowly rotating my left leg out to the side, and I'm hunting for knots, right? I'm hunting for those adhesions. If you're just joining us, Body Garage Mobility, how to use that crazy cylindrical thing that you bought at Walmart or Amazon or Target or whatever, called the foam roller, how to use it right, okay? Because we can't just jump around and tighten our tissues up and break them down. We have to reset them, okay? I found a little something on the interior angle of my soleus down here, and I'm feeling that release in my actual feet. So, valuable for me? Yes. Valuable for someone who covers many miles on a daily basis, either just walking and running or biking. Yeah, having healthy feet, sure. If you're on your feet a lot, I think that the appendages that connect you with the ground, probably pretty important to take care of. Okay, so we're coming up on 3 minutes on this calf, and what I want to do is I'm just going to do this whole leg, and then we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Okay. Now you'll notice that I've done 3 kind of techniques here. One is straight up and down. One is long stroke. One is a short scrubbing stroke, and the other is a side-to-side kind of pitching stroke, I guess you could call it, right? And we're just looking for those knots. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to move up to the IT band right here. Now the IT band runs from the knee. We'll just, for simplicity's sake, we'll call it the knee, the lateral side of the tibial shelf here, all the way up and around to the greater trochanter of the hip, that bony area right there. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start on that greater trochanter, and I want to bring my leg over, so I'm presenting all of this tissue to the implement, to my foam roller, okay? So I'm going to drag it down, down, down. We've got those initiating strokes. Down, 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 down. Nothing too angry just yet. But here's the thing. When we're rolling, the tissues, our physical tissue acts like an onion, right? You got to attack from the top layer, from the outside layer, right? You got to get through that layer before you can get to the sub-layer, and so on and so forth. So what we feel initially may be just that top layer, right? And as we relax more, we're able to get into the tissues that are overly active and maybe causing us some imbalances that manifest as pain, discomfort, dis-ease, or what have you, right? So just taking it nice and gentle here. All of my focus is in that muscle group. Now here's another thing that I will say is if you're foam rolling and you're like doing something with your hands, or even if you're watching television or talking to someone else, it's different if you're listening because you can still focus more so on the task at hand. But I would suggest that you really focus your energies on this task at hand. If not, it's kind of like, someone's like, hey, did you go to the gym? And you're like, yeah, but I went to the gym and I texted, Sally and Janie and Bobby and whoever else. Like, you weren't there working. Does that make sense? Hope it makes sense. So really, really focus on the quality of the depth of the work, of the depth of the tissue that you're permeating. So right in here, you can see I've stopped about a quarter of the way up on my IT band. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to roll forward and I'm going to roll backward. That same pitching technique that we practice on the calf, because I found some ropey musculature that, just a little personal note, I've got a knee thing going on, it's pulling on my lateral knee, right? And just because I found this area here, that is a clue to the mystery that is my knee pain, right? Because we're very complex organisms, us humans, and it is never just one thing happening, right? Unless it's like a traumatic event, I got cut with a knife or something. That's usually just one thing happening. The byproduct is many, many things. All right, so we're coming up on 3 minutes on this IT band, and I'm jabbing away as usual, trying to fill the time with useful information for you. Where we're going next is our quadricep. It's going to be the top of the left leg. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my angle just a tad. Let's say that I was on my IT band over here. Right now, I'm going to rotate over, and I'm on the quad. And I'll turn so you can see what's going on. And I've got the end of my foam roller outside of my hips. This way, my opposite hip can move freely, and I can get the once over on the quad. And this is a big muscle, quadricep, 4 of them. So it might take a little bit longer to find the adhesions, find the knots. If you have any kind of like running experience like me, then your quads are probably overactive, and you might want to take a little bit more time here. Okay, so this is the front. Actually, if you sit a lot in your quads, guess what? They tighten up too. So just check your quads. Check those quads. So we're doing a once over, and you can see I'm kind of like rotating my hips. I'm rotating the femur bone over the foam roller, right? So 2 cylinders perpendicular with one another. And I've got, there's a little jumping around in there. That's going to be my rectus femoris. That's the quad that's on top of the femur. And it's pissed for whatever reason. Muscles just get pissed. You don't have to do anything in particular to get them pissy. They just get pissy. All right. And so now, what I'm going to start doing, here's a new technique, is I'm going to start flexing and extending the muscle. So I'm going to flex my knee here while I've got pressure on my quadricep, and then I'm going to extend it back out. And what's happening is I'm stretching the muscle tissue over the foam roller itself, right? So we're kind of like squeegeeing out those adhesions, or squeezing out the fluid, or this intracellular fluid that makes up the muscle tissue itself. And then as I extend, the quadricep is returning back to its normal length and tension relationship with the joints. So it's like a sponge, right? If you were to stretch a sponge out, it would squeeze the water out of its sponge cells, whatever. And then when you released it, it would refill with intracellular fluid that is basically how your cells live, right? So we've got roll, we've got pitch, we've got extend and flex, okay? So you've got a few new ones there. We're coming up on 3 minutes here, and the reason I'm using 3 minutes is because that is the rule of thumb for the length of time that it takes to create a plastic change. Plastic means lasting change in the muscle tissue, right? So if you just do this for 30 seconds and then hop up and go about your business, you can expect zero long-term change, right? Your body will be like, oh, that was weird and new, but I'm going to go back to what I was used to. All right, so we've gotten calves, which consequently affected the feet in a positive way. We've got our IT band, or outside of the leg. We've got our quadricep, and now we've got our adductor complex that we're going to work right now. So you're going to take your roller, and I want you to lay down right beside it. You're going to take your leg, boom, bring it up, make it a little diagonal angle. There we go. Now, so my knee and my shin are kind of on the roller here, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my timer, and I'm going to, walk the body in. And like the majority of my body is just laying on the ground, right? So I'm rolling out, rolling right back in, rolling out, rolling right back in. When I say out, I mean where the foam roller is in relation to my body. That is what I'm doing, right? So this is the kind of exploring the palate that is the adductors. Nice long, slow, gentle roll, strokes, movements, whatever word you want to call them. That's what we do first, right? I kind of mark like I've got a lot of tension up next to this hip joint, right? Because that's where I produce tension when I do kettlebell swings or squats or run or whatever. In the middle of the femur itself, right about here, not too bad. But when I get right about here, there's this big gnarly muscle called vastus medialis oblique. That is that cool kind of teardrop muscle that runners have, squatters have, people that use their legs a lot have those. That puppy gets pissed. So I'm mentally marking that. I don't need to mentally mark it because it's letting me know how mad it is. This thing needs some attention, right? It is in a shortened state, and it is a little bit adhesive, meaning there's a few knots in there. It's a sticky situation in there. So I'm going to note that, and I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to scrub that area out. Now, also, as I mentioned, up by the hip is quite sticky as well. So sticky, having knots and everything. So here's what we're going to do. We've done our long strokes. We can scrub just a tad, and it's really easy to keep the muscle on when you're trying to scrub. So I would really focus on just relaxing onto the roller, relaxing onto that implement, okay? And here's what we're gonna do. I'll show you on the middle of the leg so you can really see it. I'm gonna turn my femur internally and maybe see the jump there on that knotted muscle. But I'm turning my femur in, which is going to raise the foot, and I'm rolling over that particular hot spot that I found, right? So, ow, right there, ow, right there. That's the technique that I'm using because I can't really stretch and shorten the muscle in this position since the adductors bring the leg closer to the inside of the body, to the midline of the body. So what I'm doing is I'm just pitching the leg, internal and external. Oh yeah, we got some lumps in there. Ow. And it's important to recognize also that we think of musculature as like this two-dimensional schematic on a textbook, but we are anything but two-dimensional, right? So it's never going to be like, oh, well, now I'm working only my adductor, now I'm working only my quadricep. You can skirt back and forth across the line. That's totally fine, totally kosher. Alrighty, so let's wrap this side up. Ow. Oh. And let's start on the right side. So we're going to be doing the exact same techniques. We've got 3, 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 18 minutes. I'm sorry, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12 minutes. Here we go. That's what I meant to say. We might find another 3 minutes to work on, maybe the hips. All right, so if you did your left side, which I just did, let's start on your right side. And you're going to feel some imbalances here because this human condition that we have, go ahead and start your nice long strokes. This human condition that we have, no one moves perfectly symmetrically. That's just not how it works. And that's okay, right? As long as you're a human being, not a robot. If you are a robot, then, good for you. You probably don't need to do this at all because you're not a real person. So nice long strokes. Find those asymmetries. Like my right side is just more developed than my left side. And my left side has more imbalances because it's trying to catch up with my right side. But since they work together, they're always getting better together. So my right side has a leg up on my left side. No pun intended there, but it certainly sounded that way. Nice long stroke. Pull it right back. Nice long stroke. We're getting through that first layer of that onion. And then pull it right back. Yeah, this is definitely a denser piece of tissue. So I'm going to start on my side to side and start breaking up those striations. So the musculature, the calf is a pennant muscle, I believe. So that means that the muscle, it goes in a diagonal like this, right? So what I'm doing is I'm placing that diagonal perpendicular to the roller and then mashing down and rolling side to side to try to break up some of that adhesive tissue in there, right? Increase circulation, increase the circulation of nutrients to garbage, right? Because cells breed and eat energy and food themselves, right? Mitochondria of the cell makes energy, and then when that energy is utilized, there's byproduct. Just like when we eat energy, there's byproduct, and our body removes that, right? Our body has to remove that stuff on the cellular level as well. But if the cells are all junked up together, then that process is impeded, right? And you want to make sure that all of your tissues are as healthy and smoothly functioning as possible. And now, if you see what I'm doing, I'm scrubbing side to side while I work down the musculature of the leg. I'm going to do this 2 more times, and then we're focused. Then we're going to go to the IT band. Okay. And there's 1 more time. Last time. Constant pressure, constant pressure, constant pressure. Scrub side to side, and you can feel. It feels really good. I'm going to do it 1 more time. I feel like I'm kind of having a little breakthrough right there. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Ow. 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 Awesome. Okay, so calf. Yeah, here it is. A little clicking ankle. That's another story right there. All right, so let's go to IT band on the right side. Exact same thing that we did on the left side. Sitting on the hip bone, just kind of give ourselves a marker. I'm going to step over the top of my bottom leg, my working leg, and then you can hang out down here if you want, but I like up top because I can navigate a little bit easier, right? And now I'm rolling from the top of the femur to the bottom of the femur, kneecap, right? Longest bone in the body. What's happening? What's happening? Ow. Just getting through that first layer of the onion. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet is how important it is to move with your breath when you're doing this. The breath rules the body, right? If you're short, shallow breaths, then you're upregulating what's called your sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight or flight nervous system, right? There's a lion behind you, there's Boba Fett behind you. You're gonna do what you need to do to survive. Adrenaline's gonna dump, your heart rate's gonna spike, and your circulatory system, everything tightens up, right? So we want the opposite of that. We want the parasympathetic nervous system. We want to upregulate that tone. The way that we do that is by controlling the breath. So big breath in, through the nose, out through the mouth. As long as you're breathing fully and not quickly and shallow, then you're going to be just fine. All right, so I'm going to start rolling back and forth. I've got some pretty interesting areas right in there, middle of the quad. You're going to have different areas because we all move unique. You just find what works for you, okay? Ow, 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 ow. There we go. So pitch forward, pitch back, pitch forward, pitch back. Find that angle that works best for you. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. How's our time doing? Oh, got another minute or so here. We're going to the quad next. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing. Find what works for you. What's interesting is my right leg compared to my left leg. This guy is pretty sore. This is my dominant side, but it's got less adhesion, so it feels like it's being worked, but it's a more kind of homogeneous soreness. It's not like sore in one spot and then kind of supple, healthy tissue for a range, and then an adhesion down by the knee or something like that. That's how my left side feels, which is an issue, but as I mentioned, part of the human condition. Okay, so let's wrap up this side, and ow, 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 and let's take it to the quadricep, okay? So, once again, foam roller is bisecting the body. We've got most of it out here. That way we can keep our left leg out to the side and help ourselves to navigate, right? So I'm moving my body over that quadricep and navigating with my right arm, and left leg. And we're just gonna give it a once over, up and down. Once over, up and down, nice and easy. And just breathe. Looking for those hot spots, looking for those trigger points, looking for those adhesions. All those three words mean the exact same thing. So call whatever vocabulary you would like, and just get a move on. Roll up to that hip flexor if you'd like. That's the hip crease. That's where your pocket is on your pants or your shorts or whatever you're wearing. And right back down. Coming up on our first minute here. So I've got a nice adhesion right there in the middle of my quadricep. I know you can't see. It doesn't. Let me turn sideways so you can see what's going on here. See what part of my quad here. So right about there is where I've got some feedback. And I'm going to start pitching side to side. Now in this muscle group, ow, yeah, that really hurts. Now in this muscle group, you can flex and extend along the joint of the knee because, well, there's air up there, right? You're not going to run into the ground or have some sort of impediment in your motion. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find this trigger point, which is right there where the roller is on my quadricep, and I'm going to just flex and extend that knee 10 times. So that's 3, that's 4, and just make sure you're not like toughing it out. You want to really be as relaxed as possible. That's why we've got just everything super chill today, chill music, chill vibes. You don't want to do this in a rage monster of an environment. So nice and easy. I think that's 7. I'm going to do 3 more times. 2 more times. Oh man, that sucks. It hurts. Ow, 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 ow. Yeah. And you can combine these also. So I've got my leg extended, which means the muscle quadricep is at its natural length and tension relationship with the hip. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen the tissues of the quad out by flexing the knee. Right, you can feel tension happen, and then I'm going to roll side to side while it's in that lengthened position, because that's going to present some new opportunities for reorganization of those tissues. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Now I'm rolling down that quad with it in its lengthened position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, so roll off. Last one for today. We've got our adductor complex on the right side. So we're going to, nice and easy, start our timer, and we start with our nice long strokes. We're going to figure out exactly where we have the most adhesions. Where is our time best spent here? Alrighty. Ow, 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 ow. Nice and easy. There's that VMO again. Turning it down just a tad to really get access to that muscle itself. And you can hear it in my voice, I'm holding my breath because that sucker hurts. But I have to really, really catch myself and focus on coming back to my breath. Focus on coming back to relaxation, nice easy movements over that VMO. Now I've chosen to scrub this guy out at this angle. You can see my legs at this strange internally rotated angle. That's because I feel that this is very effective right on that VMO. Oh, there I go again, breathing all shallow. Get that adrenaline dump. That's not going to help my muscles relax. That's exactly what we want to do, though, is have them relax. Relax. Nice and easy. Scrub back up the chain. Check the hip up by the groin. How's that doing? It's always very, very tense, because that's where we produce power from, right? That's where the leg attaches to the hip. And so it's going to be dense, right? There's a lot of connective tissue going into the groin itself, into that pelvic floor pubic symphysis. All right, we're going to come back out to the side, nice and easy. Checking that lateral aspect of the adductor. Yep, there's a few layers of the onion that weren't ready to be worked the last time we were here, but now we can get a little bit deeper because we relaxed into it and gotten through to those depths. Nice and easy. We got about 30 seconds left on this side. Oh. So what we're going to do when we're done with this adductor is we're going to give everything a nice stretch. Right? I'm going to give you a stretch for each muscle group that we stretch. Okay. So the reason being is you can take your foam roller, boom, just roll it out of the way for now. Let's start with the adductors, since that was the last movement or last tissues that we stretched. And I want you to go into this kind of frog position, and you're going to sit back into that frog and then come forward. Hips are down, my knees are wide. I'll just face the camera here. So knees are wide, and I'm moving the hips back and down and stretching that adductor complex, and I'm breathing. And you want to hold these, if you're moving, if you're holding, whatever, about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes also. But what I want you to do is, for today, we're gonna bridge this, and we're going to just spend about 30 seconds on each stretch. So here's the frog from the side, and back. Note my hips are down, right? Knees are wide. Gently push into the ground. Bring the knees in, and let's go for the let's go for the quads. Let's go for hero's pose. Now I'm gonna tuck my toes and I'm just gonna sit back just like this. This might be enough for you, okay? So just chill here if that's all you wanna do. You can get a stretch with the feet. I'm gonna see how my knees are, my feet are tucked, stretching the bottoms of the feet, the toes, the arches of the foot, etc., etc. If that's not enough for you, I want you to open the feet or point the toes, and you're gonna sit back onto your feet and then just sit onto your quads just like this. That might be enough for you also. If that's not enough, then I want you to start leaning yourself back nice and easy. And you can see that I've got a kind of an obtuse angle here at my hips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my glutes and I'm going to push those hips forward, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And I feel this by my kneecaps as well, right? That's a pretty healthy stretch in the quads. And the reason that we're doing this right after we spent 30 minutes foam rolling 2 limbs is because smashing and stretching go hand in hand, right? It's a stupid little analogy, or mind game there, but literally smashing with the foam roller, soft tissue work. We've got a pigeon pose next. Soft tissue work coupled with stretching is extremely potent if you have any kind of like joint discomfort that's non-arthritic. So for our pigeon pose, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stand, we're on the tabletop, and what I want you to do is a high plank. You're gonna draw that left knee up underneath. Try to get it as perpendicular, the shin as perpendicular as possible with the hips, and then we're gonna sit back. See, I'm kind of pulling my body back with my right foot, and I don't want you to do this go to sleep thing, all right? I want you to push your body into the ground, that spine goes straight into the ground, hips down and back, and I'm pulling my hips back with my left hip, pulling my hips forward with my right hip. So it's a bit of a rotation game. All right, hold this for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift through the hips and the heart. I'm going to switch around to the other side so you can see getting into the pigeon pose. So big plank, lift through hips and the heart, draw that right leg up, push those hips back, pull the right hip back, push your body back with your shoulders and arms, and drive those hips straight down and back. Pull the right hip back, pull the left hip forward, and sit for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Last one is for the calves, okay? So what we're gonna do is go into our downward facing dog. I love this one because you get both calves at the same time, open the shoulders as well. We're gonna save the upper body for another series. So I'm clipping my left foot behind my right foot, and I'm putting all my weight onto that right heel, knee and hip going straight up into the air. And when you're doing your downward facing dog, make sure your elbows wrap around behind you. Don't let them flare out to the side. So you want to stabilize those shoulders and rip into the ground with your raptor claws that are your fingers, just to keep a nice stable shoulder structure. And I'm just playing around with the angles. Right now I'm pivoting on my ankle, and I'm feeling this stretch all the way up in my hip as well. So from the heel to the bottom of the foot, really, bottom of the foot up to the heel, to the kneecap, to the hip. Go ahead and switch. And it's so important to keep those heels down. Keep your heels down, please. Because if not, then your calf is shortened as well as loaded, and that is the opposite of what we're trying to do here. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, so that, my friends, is how you reset the tissues of the low chain. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope that you utilize this and make yourself into a better person. Please hit me up with any questions or requests in the DMs, and I hope that you have an amazing day. All right, we'll see you next time in the Body Garage.